There's about to be a meeting once again with the Army Corps of Engineers. It's been a everyday occurrence now for the last few days. Should be interesting to see what's going to happen today, because actually a little earlier today it was raining pretty hard, and that's going to cause supposedly not the work crews can't get in today. Here, I'll give you a little glimpse of, there's a lot of flooding. It's kind of hard to see. There's some water. Apparently, the deadline right now is they got to leave that Oshedi by the 22nd. But this day-to-day is going to stop people from actually the truckloads to go in there and actually clean some of the mess up. So they're looking to get an extension for that, so maybe a day. We'll see. So we'll get an update on that in that meeting today. So if you guys could share this, that'd be great. They're gonna start this meeting in just a matter of minutes. So if you could share away, let's get in there.
So everybody be standing here. It'll seem awkward, but here's what we need to ask. If it's all right today, that for media people, give us some space so we can talk about some things. But it's good that you're here. For those who have arrived that are our community and our camp people, we're going to ask you to give us some space too, so we can just make sure of what's going to happen for the day. And then afterwards, we'll all talk about what those outcomes are, and we'll also ask them to stay so they can talk to the larger group. But in its beginning, if it's all right, we're trying to negotiate some extra days. So if we have that opportunity first, and then we'll widen it out so that everybody else can come in and get to ask, or then it's open for other questions. Does that seem okay? Hey, when did you get here?
I'm almost here.
Oh, I didn't know you were here. Well, so if everybody would be okay with that, it'd be great. If there's something you want to ask about or do quickly now, we could go through it. I had a feeling you might. Thiago, yes.
In our meeting on December the 2nd with Joy Mahmoud and Colonel Henderson, I asked Joy Mahmoud point blank if we could put 4 people out on the drill pad, because we have questions with regards to quality of workmanship.
Okay.
And execution of work, and he agreed.
Okay. So that's a good reflection for afterwards. We're going to ask them to stay so that other people can open up questions, and then you should ask them that.
Okay.
But the primary thing we want to do first is to try and negotiate that we all know that the weather had turned today, and that if they're assessing that they're not going to be able to come in today, we need them to make that assessment, because we don't have the resources they do, right?
Yeah.
So if they can assess, gee, we don't think we can get machines in today, that allows us to say, gee, we don't think we can get to our stuff today either. Does that mean we're moving the date?
Yeah.
So if you'll allow us to do that first, then afterwards
that should be encompassed in the environmental assessment that they should have done whenever they executed the project.
I already asked them.
Let us do the first step first, then afterwards we'll ask them to stay, because other people have questions like yourself, and then you can widen that. My scope at the moment is to let them assess, because we need them to make that assessment, so that afterwards we can say, okay, if that's your assessment, we need to have an agreement that we can look at the extension of this date, because everybody who's struggling is not going to find it easier in this weather just as much as they are. So if you give us that opportunity to do that first in the small group, then we'll say, okay, now other people have questions they want to ask, we'll bring them forward, and then we can widen the conversation. Sound good to everybody?
Just one media guy then during the small group?
Sorry?
Just one media guy during the small group?
I don't know how many media guys there are on the ground, but it would seem to me that
we don't want them doing what you're doing
Okay.
right now. Okay?
All right, sure.
Okay, we don't want cameras in people's faces like that. Thank you.
Oh, no
Okay,
worries.
that's why we're asking media
sure.
to step back. And basically the only one that really, because he's in prayer, so he knows what to do. Okay? Thank you.
No worries.
Everybody, we're going to give you a cool block our way.
they're wanting some people to kind of give them some space, so I'm gonna kind of lay low in the back, but they're gonna seem to let us get in there a little bit, but they're gonna try to negotiate and then come back. So be patient. I'm pretty tall, so I think people kind of get, and I wear bright colors, so just they get intimidated by me trying to film. So I'm trying to lay low in the back, not trying to make anyone mad. So if you're just seeing me talk, that's the reason why. So I'm here in peace, not trying to upset anyone, but it is a meeting going on. It rained I think all night, but it actually stopped, which is kind of interesting. It's nice weather, but boy, it did all that rain. I did not hear about the raids. There's a lot of rumors. I wouldn't. You're a favorite. Thanks, Naomi. No, I did not hear about the raids. Yeah, want to talk?
Hey everybody, Ed Higgins here. So this is the point in our program where we understand as non-indigenous allies that we need to step back and allow some space so that they can do what they need to do in order for us to get some extra time so that we can go ahead and make sure we secure all our supplies and people away from here as much as we can. So I'm okay with that. That's something I've learned out here in the last 3 months being here, is sometimes we take the back seat. I'm okay with that.
I'm not trying to piss anyone off,
Yeah,
that's my
of course.
But you see I'm tall and I wear pink, so
Tim sticks out. Just a little bit. Yeah.
Someone was saying there's a lot of rumors. I tell people don't listen to rumors. They're like, be careful, there's a raid at 1. And
No raid. No raid. No raid. Hey, wait, check it out. So tomorrow, no raid. The next day, no raid. So what'll happen is probably gonna be like a deadline where we need to be out, and then they're gonna come in and camp. But otherwise, no raid. So once again, no raid.
Don't buy into fear, guys.
Yeah, you don't buy into fear. So the best warriors on the planet, they don't buy into fear. They actually find their center in a second. You see, like this. See? No fear. No raid. Good to
When
go.
in doubt,
Yes, woosah. Always come in a good way and tell Charles to go, you know what.
so yeah, we're just laying low, giving them some space, and
Yeah.
we'll give you a recap of when we allowed in.
Right. We'll be allowed in after they get to talk to the Army Corps engineers. And we're playing a chess game right now. We're hoping to get some more time so we can get, all these buildings and all these supplies that you beautiful people around the world gave to us out so we can be used
Back
elsewhere.
up a little bit. Here I go. I'm in the wrong. Get in the way.
It's all good.
Do you think they're going to extend? Would you think because it's rain now? I mean, they can't bring work crews in here today. It should be extended at least a day, right?
Well, Johnny's a pretty smart guy, so he's playing it right. What he's going to do is he's going to allow them to make the decision. You always let the other person make the decision. At least let them think that they're making a decision. So that's the talk that's going to happen right now, so we'll see what happens. We'll just go from there. Creator's got a plan, we just follow it. That's all we can do. I've come to understand as human beings we need to stop trying to control chaos because it doesn't work. There's not a computer on this planet that could understand the algorithm that is this planet, that is Creator. So we continue to try to control that chaos and we get blowback. And 140 years trying to control since the industrial era has given us this huge blowback we're about to receive in this next 10 years. So yeah, we need to learn to shut up and start listening to the earth because it ain't working out too well so far.
True that. I think a lot of us, we want to control things because it's out of fear, but
Yeah,
we got to let
that's
go.
exactly
and
why,
Mother
right.
Nature's got quite the plan for us all.
And I found in this last 5 months or so, every time I just let go, things happen. I actually, funny enough, so I needed a soda yesterday. weird, right? So it's like Gucci in the middle of camp. I need a soda, but I needed a Coke. I needed a Pepsi. And I'd said it like 15 times, and then like 3 cases of Coke literally landed in my lap.
Boom.
Yeah. In the middle of North Dakota, in the middle of a camp, just like, here, special delivery. It's like, what?
Asking you shall receive. This is the beauty of life. Be careful what you're thinking about, talking about, and acting, because those 3 things together, a magic recipe for instant manifestation.
Exactly. Manifesting it really does happen. We've seen it a lot in this last, few months, and you'd be surprised the power of your brain that you can't see. It's not going to come relative to you, but it will just happen, and you can't just look for it. You just gotta think it, manifest it. As long as you're not greedy, you will be provided with what you need. And if the whole planet thought that way, we'd have a beautiful world right now.
I think one of the really interesting things about being here is, the flow is so present. You don't really kind of make plans here. It just kind of, but like we led one person to this place, and you're always at the right place. It's kind of seamlessly at the right time here,
Yeah.
So we're definitely more in flow here than I would say in a more majority of regular life,
Yeah, regular life, you're always like, I gotta be here at a certain time. Oh my God, I'm all stressed out because of traffic, this and that. But around here, you're like, there's a meeting today. Okay, well, if I'm meant to be at that meeting, I'll be there. If not, then something else will come up. And Creator says, hey, you were meant to be there today. Okay. Good with that.
Boom. So you've, in total, how long have you been here, Ed?
Well, I'm going on, 3 months before, and I've been here for the last week. So I hope to be here for another week at least.
So now you were saying yesterday that this experience kind of like changed your life. What do you think? You want to explain a little bit about that?
Sure, it really changed my life. It made me actually learn to shut up, put my ego way, way to the back. I'm just a pitiful man now. I understand that I'm not anything special, and I already kind of thought that way, but you still have that ego. If somebody tells you what to do, usually, what? You tell me what to do. I've been on my own, pretty much taking care of myself since I was like 6 years old. So like, somebody telling me what to do usually would spark me, trigger me. Now I'm like, okay, I understand. I'm not anything important. I'm a pitiful man, and I take it, and it usually turns out to be okay. It's usually a lesson I need to learn. I'm okay with that too. As humans, we like to talk a lot. Talk. But as white people on this planet, it's time for us to shut up and listen. Especially humans in general. But yeah, it's time to listen. You listen to the earth, you listen to the signs, you listen to the symbols. That's what I've learned. And every time I've listened, the world has provided me with what I need. Not what I want, what I need. Also, I'm a man of science. I've always been a man of science. I've always looked at atoms and quarks, and there's always a scientific reason for everything. And now I understand there's a bigger algorithm that I never took into play, and that's the spirit world. And I pray now, and I think about ceremony, and it's really, it's still science. It's positive mentality. Once you have that positive mentality, things start to work better in your brain, start to work better in the world around you. And I achieved that by having prayer and by having ceremony and by coming in a good way, with the best intentions at all times. So I'm still human, so I still make mistakes, but I'm learning at a faster rate, and it's been pretty glorious to me personally. I've also learned to love my relatives here. I didn't know anybody indigenous before I even came out here. Now I have a huge family. So I've learned to love and understand people that I never even knew anything about, except for Columbus Day and Thanksgiving. That's what the American school system teaches you about indigenous people. It's sad, but we are informing, educating, and mobilizing over at Activate Now News, and that's one of the things we're going to be focusing on is the real education of the United States of America and what really happened, coming to some hard truths and some hard discussions about what America really is and what Turtle Island really is before America was even thought of.
The spirit world is something that, is magically creating opportunities for us all the time, and we just gotta open our eyes, open our ears, and there are signs everywhere, but we just don't listen.
That's right. Don't listen.
Once we listen, everything's laid out for us.
Well, and it's hard too because the systems of the elite are meant to distract you, so you do not listen, so you can't listen to your own brain. Somebody commented on my feed yesterday. They said, "You look like you found yourself again." I said, "Yeah, in the so-called civilized world where we put homeless out to die, where we don't give enough food to people. I don't think that well. I don't. There's too many distractions. I don't feel comfortable in this world, in the world of free living, actual free enterprise and free living. I feel good. I feel right at home, and I just light up every time I see my relatives. There's so many amazing people. I've met the most amazing people on the planet here, and I consider them my relatives, my family now. So yeah, it's interesting. I can think a lot clearer in this free enterprise world, in this world of not take, but give. I find my clarity, and I give that to the spirits as well. The spirits are with me, which is a beautiful thing.
Someone asked, who's this talking? This is Ed Higgins.
Oh, hey, Ed Higgins. Ed Higgins here. I am the chief correspondent now for Activate Now News. That is my company. We will be launching April 8th worldwide. I'm also, as I said, just a pitiful man. So I've been here. I was called out by the elders and by the tribe, and I've been there ever since, learning some hard lessons about what it means to be colonized. I never even heard of the word colonize. I heard of colonial America, but I never heard of colonization. And now I've been downloaded with a whole history that I never knew, and I hate being lied to. So I'm letting everybody know what that real history is, because I don't want anybody else to be lied to either.
Truth shall set you free.
Truth shall set you free. It's absolutely correct.
And now's the time of the great reveal everywhere in society.
It is.
Look at our president. He's given us this great opportunity to see his lies.
He might actually be the great unifier. That's amazing. I never thought that would happen. Definitely not with that person. But yeah, he might be the great unifier.
It's always in life the people you least expect. The people that might think is your biggest enemy is actually the person that's actually your greatest potential to lead you to the right way.
Right. Everything is a learning lesson, and this administration seems to be a big learning lesson for the planet. If we can get past the fact of it's my team, your team, and this is why we have this issue. The last 2 months is not the problem. The last 40, 50, 180 years. In the last 180 years since the Industrial Revolution, we have amplified the Earth, changes in the Earth by 700%. It's ridiculous. We have the hottest days on record coming up right now. There are geese flying overhead, and they're not even supposed to fly overhead for another 2 months. They're like, wow, this is messed up. I'm going north. We have a lot of lessons to learn right now. Yeah.
I mean, right now it's relatively really warm here for February. I mean, we're talking like 40s and the 30s. In LA, it's flooding. I mean, there's some interesting weather patterns. The geese are flocking early. I mean, let's take a step back.
Yeah, if you forget about all the propaganda, you forget about all the rhetoric, you forget about red team, blue team, you forget about fake news, and you look at just the weather patterns alone, we are in trouble. And it's not, oh God, we got to go out and sell our house and move to the hills trouble, but it will get there. And it's going to be a great realization in humanity that, hey, we did mess up this planet. It's time to evolve as a society, and that evolution is coming all over the world. And it may be a little violent, but it's not going to be person to person violent. It's going to be the Earth saying, hey, I gave you a chance. This is your chance. Wake up.
Just a little update, guys. Some of you were asking if the meeting's happening. It is happening right now, but they wanted everyone to kind of take a step back and they'll give us a recap. We got to be respectful, and so just be patient. And Yeah.
Everything will come in due time. Yeah.
Patience. One of the greatest lessons in life.
Patience is a virtue.
You want to come on in?
Yeah. Hi. Good morning, everyone. Nice to see you all. Good to have some allies on the outside looking in. Just staying in the prayer and hoping for the best here with these negotiations. Right?
All right.
That's all you can do.
All you can do.
Right?
You just hope that Creator will guide you. Creator has a plan anyway. We just got to figure out what it is. So it'll be known.
Yeah, it will reveal itself, and we're all here for each other, so that's important.
And you see, we're not in fear. There's no raid. We're chilling.
Yeah, there was someone saying there's a raid at 1.
Yeah.
A lot of fear being pushed out there. Don't buy into it.
Yeah.
Don't mind the fear.
Yeah, if you're an oil bot, get a new job. Like,
Get a
it's
new
bad.
job.
Like, you're just creating no fear. You're creating fear for no reason. And the $2 an hour isn't worth it. Man, I'll give you $2 an hour if you just stop.
We'll pay you well for love.
Yeah, I'll
Love,
pay you
love.
$3 for love. Yeah, how about that?
I'll give you a smoke.
And I'll give you a hug.
Oh, Dean has my
What?
tobacco.
I don't think he does he? I think I found it by the river.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I gave it away.
Oh.
Someone needed it. Someone who was actually going to smoke it needed
Creator,
it.
forgive me. I don't smoke, but I did throw down, some prayers. Prayers up, tobacco down, and apparently that's changing. So I'll still throw down the prayers. You just might not get as much tobacco. I hope you're not a smoker.
So this meeting's on pause.
Well, it's happening.
They just wanted us to take a step back and kind of give them some space, and they'll give us a recap after their.
They're talking.
Yeah.
Great.
The energies.
Hopefully, maybe a bit of a rain delay day.
Yeah.
That's
Maybe
the
an
hope.
extra day.
That's the hopes. That's the hopes. Yeah.
Great.
And then if we can utilize some of this day, I mean, that'd be great too. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
I think if we got that trailer in right now, it would be a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
We can reach out to our
It's kind
allies.
of cold right now, so if our allies are watching up on Eagle's Nest.
Eagle's Nest, come down from the nest!
Come
Come
on
down!
from the nest with the trailer, so we can get this long house up on the hill.
Very sacred structure we need to save.
Yes.
We don't want that in here and confiscated or
We need your help.
bulldozed.
We need your help.
We need your help.
Yeah, so
Phone home.
Send out the smoke signals to Eagle's Nest, to the veterans who spawn up there. We'd love to have them. We recommend they come down with the trailer. Yeah, you guys know what to do.
I think we're allowed in
we're
now.
on?
So a little recap. So please share. Get the news. Thanks.
We're gonna be able to get it done. We're gonna be in a rush.
February 22nd.
Don't wait till then.
Yeah.
Let's start
when I'm
moving it
waiting.
today.
All right, let's have a walk and see what we think.
I was saying that. I love that. I love that part. That's what it's all about. Especially here, these symbols of bright colors, hearts are desperately needed.
Colorful colors. I love pastels. It makes, I get colorful socks and it gives you a smile every morning. I put them on and I'm like, yes, I'm ready to go because I have color in my life. Color brings me happiness. That's my eternal happiness. Color brings a lot of happiness to a lot of different people. You ever notice you watch a black and white movie, you don't really get the same emotion you would as a color movie. That's because color provides that optics, the internal recognition of, hey, I am in the real world, and this is my truth.
And there actually is a such thing as color therapy, and each color represents a certain energy, right? One of my favorite colors is yellow, actually, and yellow is all about hope and optimism. So if you want to bring some hope and optimism into your life, yellow is a great color to wear.
That's it. Okay. I personally like a teal blue, or I like a purple.
I'm a purple girl all the way. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not a discriminatory of colors. I love them all.
I love them all.
The brighter the better.
Even puce. I love puce. Puce is like a off pink. Yeah, I like puce. That's a color.
I like your pink hoodie. That's a good color for today.
You know, pink is needed today. I think real men can wear pink. That's what I feel.
You know what? Actually, up until the 1950s, pink was a boy's color, and blue was a girl's color.
What?
And then the game Life came out, and then they changed the script.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's
Learning new
interesting
things
what
every day
marketing
here at
does.
Standing Rock.
Right? It's interesting what marketing does to change our perspective.
Don't listen to the powers that be.
Yep. Just choose what you want.
Whatever feels right.
Whatever feels right, just do it. That's okay.
Young, spry folks.
Did you stretch out before you got up this morning?
No, I didn't.
We all have our like mud walk, you know. It's a little slower.
Uh-huh.
Every step down there takes a lot of care.
Been there. Did your mom's vehicle make it in? Okay. You said there were some issues.
Oh yeah. Oh, there they are. They're the smart ones.
We're walking, right?
Yeah, we're walking.
Yeah,
Hey, am I allowed to film now? Is this cool? You don't know? I don't know when. Do you know what we're doing right now?
We're doing a walk around.
To see the conditions, if we could work today?
I'm not so sure.
Right. I think we're doing a walk around to the camp to see if they can bring some work trucks in today. Try to get you some updates, trying to be on the outside looking in. They don't want me. I was told today I gotta create a little space for people, and that's cool. So if you see a lot of me talking, that's the reason why we're walking in right now. You know what we're doing right now?
Environmental awareness. I understand. To see if they can work today or not.
Right.
So did you tell them what we're doing?
Why don't you fill us in?
Well, now a whole group of water protectors is actually escorting Army Corps of Engineers representative through camp on foot rather than in a vehicle, so they can really kind of get a proper understanding of where camp is at and how much more time we need to really do this in a good way. Yeah. So
Good.
they can see for themselves and see what the conditions are. I mean, the mud is really unbelievable. Yesterday, my vehicle, which is one of the only available working trucks right now, pulled out 4 cars. In addition to, you know, all the lumber runs and everything else it was doing, and water runs. The water house is up and running right now, which is good. But yeah, so we don't have a lot of vehicles that can even get through this mud, and we probably have 4 or 5 vehicles that were straight in last night that are going to need to be pulled out today as well.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Thanks for the update.
Yeah, that's the update.
So yeah, guys, share this, let everyone know. This is the Army Corps is gonna let us see what the conditions are. It's really muddy.
the good road.
This is a good road.
Yeah, I know. So I'm like, hey, why don't we just bring the vehicles down now? We're good, but I know.
Oh, and maybe we're requesting that they not bring in work trucks today.
That's the
major ask.
The major ask.
Those trucks are just tearing up what little remains of and causing huge divots and huge holes. Anytime they turn, they basically make a new lake in the mud, and other cars are literally falling into that as they're trying to get around. So it's really slowing down our progress on our front, and it seems like yesterday they were just moving big piles of snow around in this tearing up road.
Walking cars, just walking.
Come on, fast, on the right.
I almost just slipped. It's very, very wet, very muddy. Get a gauge of what's really happening here. It's a bit of a mud bath.
If you're lucky, you can find some of this stuff with the ice underneath. But you never know.
No,
With each step, it could be an inch or it could be 7 inches of mud.
don't know here. There's a lot.
Look at you in the mud.
I know. My shoes are
Completely.
I'm gonna roll up.
Completely in the mud.
Completely in the mud. Roll up my pants.
More than just your heel, which is only about a quarter inch to an inch, then operating vehicles on that is not going to be a good situation. And we've been kind of working with this and trying to police it up, but I mean, you can see I'm ankle deep here, so this is, I don't know, this is not a good situation for engineer equipment. And this is where most of our equipment would be going through to get up the ramp. So. Shaking your head in agreement, and everyone else is ankle deep in mud. So.
I agree completely.
Excuse me. I'm just
Saying hello.
We can come over there.
Yeah, you don't have to get your jeans muddy.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I do it every day.
Yeah. Well, I was just saying that I was a construction platoon leader. We had dozers and graders, scrapers. We had all that kind of equipment in my platoon. And what we do is called a heel test. So if your heel sinks, and that's only a quarter, 3/4 of an inch to an inch. If your heel sinks in the mud, that's not good for you to operate equipment on. And as you can see, we're much more than a quarter inch here. So
Yeah.
I don't think this will be a good day to operate. It's gotta dry out. And you know the weather. Looking at the forecast, there's I think snow coming in Wednesday.
Yeah.
I think it's 20% chance. I mean, all you guys got smartphones and stuff. You can see it and verify. But I don't know. We'll come back and we'll assess tomorrow. And so now the question would be. Your spiritual leaders and those guys that can look at the sweats, and we can do an assessment on those items, and maybe they can try to get through this. I mean, I see some trucks that are a little bit lighter weight driving through it, but maybe we can start to
So look
this.
at that. And there are a number of conditions that immediately enter my mind. One is, as I always say, no one comes to harm. When I see someone sliding around like that,
Oh yeah.
I don't want to
It's a
see
safety
someone
hazard.
slide out. Yeah, it's a safety hazard. The larger thing I think though is, for me in my mind, is that you guys now can say that under your guidance, Major, that the assessment is you can't work in this. Is the expectation that we can?
No, I don't think it would be reasonable to think that you can.
Now we have a question of if we were saying we were trying to look at a day-by-day basis as we approach the 22nd. Can you say that it's unrealistic that in the next 2 days we'll be able to complete our task because we're going to be hindered by an incapability to work?
Yeah, I think that's a good assessment. I would say that you're right on. I mean, the stuff that we can continue to make progress on, it's going to be tough, but I don't think that you'll be able to get all this stuff out.
So the question would be, can we then go back to the conversation that said we could reassess the flexibility of the date that understands that none of these things are in our control or your control?
Right, and that's one thing that Levi was talking to the UCG about.
Sure, I'm sure he was, yeah.
And no, they're staying firm with that date. They put a mark on the wall, and
they put a mark on a wall that doesn't understand that you, Major, are on the ground assessing that it would be impossible for us to meet the deadline given our capability.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then I have to ask that, how do we find ourselves able to try and do something that's been set for us that now we understand is even impossible to do.
Right. So,
and the last one is I have to ask you is that I know I was told last night by Chairman Fraser of Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe that he wrote a letter of request to the Colonel asking him to understand that to the best of his ability and his tribal members' ability, they were trying to work hand in hand with that, and that they find themselves also in that position that he made that request. I'm sure you were aware of it. I hope you were aware of it.
I haven't been made aware of it, but
okay.
I'll call Colonel Henderson afterwards.
And that if the Colonel would be, that he was waiting to hear if there was a reply, but that also now we see the impact of where we're standing. And if there's at this stage some way to say on our 1 day at a time, trying to do things in a good way and do it collaboratively, that we're able to say, this is not anybody's doing other than Creator and the weather, and can we not say that in a very humanistic level, it's not about having a firm date because somebody's backing down or someone's being weaker, but it's actually being about benevolent and saying that's just the assessment.
Right,
it's
that's
not backing down. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Want to come out and play?
In the mud, thank you.
What's everybody doing over there?
So what stage today might we possibly have a further conversation on saying, again, that's a request. But now the evidence is around us. It's impossible.
Right.
I mean, I'll be trying to do some things today, but not like this.
Right. No. I wouldn't ask my soldiers to work a whole bunch of stuff in this. I mean, there's certain things I'd ask them to do here.
So removing spiritual structures gets a little bit difficult because they have to be honored as well. We don't take them down and throw them in the mud. Right. So there's all that kind of stuff. But there's also the other ones that you guys know and we know. There's been a lot of movement. There's been a lot of, lot of vehicles trying to get things out of here and take care of stuff. So I know you're in an untenable position.
Right.
But.
And so with that 22nd, as we know it being a firm date, we haven't been able to get this assessment up. With that, I'd encourage folks to get personal items off the camp. The stuff that are your personal items, get those off the camp and then address the cleanup at a later time. The more of that stuff you can get off, the better.
Sure, but whether they're personal items or spiritual items, like the Inipi, like the lodges, or some of the other ones, we're still mired in this.
No,
and rigs
I
aren't going to be able to
Yeah.
get in and out, and cars won't be able to get in and out.
Yeah.
Like my personal items are every single living being in this camp. Those are mine.
Right.
So if I can't make sure that all those have a place to be safe and don't have to come to harm, I'll have failed.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm asking, well, okay, how should I assess that and be able to work with that ability? We're not going to be able to move cars or get people in and out easily either. So if we could, is there a stage today where maybe we can revisit that and talk together and say, you know what, we're actually working together on that one, and along with Chairman Fraser's request that there's.
So that doesn't look good.
No, it doesn't.
That looks like some kind of hazardous material in there. So, on any note, we'll stay around if your cultural leaders or your spiritual leaders decide that we can do anything with the spiritually significant items. We'll stay around for that. If that assessment's made that we can do that today, we'll stay around and we can continue to have this conversation. Otherwise, I really, if they're not going to be able to do that work, maybe we have a phone call.
Okay.
And we can discuss it. And I don't care if you put it on speakerphone and everyone can hear. But
yeah,
you know, I spent quite a few days down here trying to facilitate keeping the cleanup moving. And there's a lot of things I can do down here, but I have a lot more ability to show the world, you know, what we can do by getting on a computer and typing up some emails. So
appreciate that.
That's just where I stand. I just don't want to be sitting down here idle when I could actually be trying to push up the issue.
Same for me. I'm the same. I'll be trying to do that as well, but I appreciate it. We had said also that other people had other things. I don't know if you want to, you have time you can stick for some of the things. I think other people had some
questions.
Yeah, but
do we want to go back up there?
Yeah, we can go back up.
I think this assessment is complete, but I want to get I want to make sure the governor's office is involved as well in those conversations.
Appreciate that.
All right.
John, if I can.
I don't know how much people want to slog through this anymore.
No, let's exit. Yeah. This is actually the good corner. So
yeah, it is. Exactly. We didn't have to go far.
But it's seeping into my socks now, so I'll be happy to move off.
Thank you so much, gentlemen.
No problem.
I'm going to
French. Yep, French food. Are you media or you're
Yes.
one of, okay. Nice to meet you. So we're going to help with your camp today?
So maybe JR or somebody up there has something they can use, but I don't think there's too much and you guys told me yesterday.
No, I think we all saw what happened last night. That's yesterday. Let's take today. Today is a new day, and move forward.
I agree. We need to just continue on with what we're doing.
Right.
I guess I'm just explaining my demeanor today.
Right.
I'm having to pray harder.
Yes. Yeah. A quote that I've lived by my whole life is President Roosevelt said, the only limit to our realizations of tomorrow will be our doubts today. So let us move forward with strong and active faith. So that's something that I've always lived by, and we got to have faith that we're going to be able to accomplish this and do it in a peaceful manner. Man, I wish that rain didn't come.
Mother Nature sometimes.
Yeah, well, yeah, and we've talked about what could happen here with the flooding, and I don't come here as a person that's been on the ground and seen what happened, but the effects could be catastrophic with people living here in the flood zone. So we still gotta take that into consideration, and that's why we're encouraging to get the personal items. If the structures are still here, the Corps will still come in and do what it can do, but we don't want people here. don't want people here to possibly come to harm by Mother Nature. So. Is that Levi there? Or is... I thought it was him with the black jacket on.
So if there were structures still here on the 22nd, what would happen to those structures?
So if there's...
Is there anybody from China that has a trigger and supposed to help us move?
So if there's items here, the Corps will work with the tribe to, if there's spiritual significant items, the Corps will work with the tribe to remove those in a way that respects the tribe. And if there's just structures that are here, then...
Before you go, I know, just to clarify that when you say respects the tribe, do you mean Standing Rock tribe or us here? Because we're in separate
the folks that are here.
Okay,
Yeah,
so just for everybody out there.
Right.
Because it's a thing, so.
Yeah, no, I know it's sensitive.
Yeah, it's just a clarification.
Gotcha. But yeah, we'll do that, and we'll make sure that we respect all the spiritual entities that are on the camp, and do it in a way that honors what is going on here. And then the structures that aren't spiritually significant, then they'll have to come down. I know there's been requests to move them, but you see the conditions. By the 22nd, some of those, they're just not going to be able to move. So, but we're still looking. We're taking it day by day. It's hard. It's tough. It's a complex situation. So as we do these assessments every day, and we just have to figure out where our efforts are placed to get the most bang for our buck for that day. And that's what we'll do going forward.
Just to recap, what did you conclude from your tour of the camp today?
Oh, it's not a good situation to have the engineer equipment come down. So what we usually do in the military is a boot test. If your heel sinks into that mud, then it's not good for your engineer equipment to operate on, because I'm only 170 pounds, so to push mud with 170 pounds, just imagine with a couple tons worth of debris in a can with the truck, all that weight, it's just going to really make a lot of ruts where even the folks that want to drive around here would just make it impossible. So it's not bringing those guys is in its essence supporting your ability to continue to move around, and as I said, we got to get the personal items off, and then we can assess the rest of it as time goes on.
Thank you.
No problem. You ready to go see Levi? All right. I love having the crowd around me. I love you guys. I feel so popular. In an unpopular way, right?
We're hanging out to every word, man.
Yeah. I guess it's infamous and famous at the same time.
I always feel bad for you guys. We get to upper levels and we get thrown into but you gotta take it, man.
Yeah, you got it. Exactly. Exactly. Actually, this sun might dry this out a little bit. Oh, yeah. Like I said. Yeah, if I need to pull my truck down here and help you out.
We're taking to the store later for Red Bull.
Another Red Bull?
But the day of the 22nd pretty much still stands. You just can try to respect take items in the first one.
Right, exactly. So the 22nd, it still stands as the day that we want folks to come out, and we encourage those that if you don't have the means to leave on your own, hey, just come out of here. Right now, the evacuation time was set for 2 p.m. on the 22nd. So those that don't have the means to leave on their own, come out here on the road at 12 o'clock with your personal items, and the state will provide transport is the intent. So again, it's trying to maintain this in a peaceful manner to respect everyone that's on the camp. And if we can do that, and we can have folks that voluntarily want to leave, that'll definitely help with the whole situation.
And what do you mean the state will provide transport? What can you explain that a little more?
So the plan right now is if we get from the camp an assessment of how many folks are just absolutely stranded, they want to leave peacefully, and they don't have the means, they don't have a car. Governor Burgum and the team are looking at bringing down some transportation, whether it be a bus, a van, to let those folks load up and move on, and find some closure that day, 4/12, and move out and move to a relocation center where they'll be given tickets, or bus tickets, to where they want to go.
Where would this relocation center be?
That I'm not sure of all the logistics of it, but I know that is the intent right now, and so the more we can encourage that, I think it supports this prayerful and peaceful end to the 22nd.
Is this relocation effort for individuals and personal items only?
Right.
No dogs. Can you tell us what a relocation center is?
So the relocation center, the concept is that folks they'll come in, they'll tell these folks, hey, I'm so-and-so, I want to go to X location, and from that relocation center, they'll book a ticket so that person can be transported to where they want to go.
Is it a place where they're held?
No, you won't be held against your will. It'll just be, you're there and there to find some transportation to where you want to go. And that'll be the whole intent.
Do you have any plans for the animals?
Well, that question hasn't come up, so I'll bring that up to the governor's office as to, well, what do we do about the dogs and the horses? I know we were tracking the horses yesterday, so I'll definitely bring that question up.
Especially if they get rounded up and they want to get them again.
Right.
They get separated from the it's going to be really confusing and challenging.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So even with this weather, there's no budging on that date, huh? On the 22nd?
There hasn't been any discussions of budging on the date. We're pushing back, but as you can see, where we thought we were flexible before, we haven't been successful with pushing back. So there hasn't been any budging on the date, and so now I think is a good time to just plan against that date and accept that. I mean, it's hard to accept it, but that's why we're taking it day by day. And things change. The truth changes, and who knows what could happen between now and then. It's 72 hours. Situations change. So
I want to say that we need to continue the effort to cooperate and clean up, and we need to prepare for the worst, being that they don't change the date. And so we're doing that here in camp, but we're still asking the world to contact the Army Corps of Engineers and ask for an extension of the deadline. We want to utilize the rights of the people of this country to have a voice in how things go. And none of us want the bad things that are coming to happen. I don't believe that anyone standing in this ground that wants that, but in the higher up offices of the Army Corps of Engineers where those decisions are made, I'm asking the world to appeal to them to use your voices, utilize your rights as citizens of this country to advocate for us to have an extension. We've done good here in these last days of work, and right now we're just working with the impossible, being the weather. No one can control that, so it even adds more pressure on us because the ask is still the same from the Army Corps. They're still saying, well, you still need to get your stuff out, even though it's been declared that no one can really work in this condition. But the ask is still there that we still move our stuff out. So, it's just, in black and white, it's unreasonable. So we're just asking that you use your voices, use your rights as citizens, and advocate for us here, and just spread that message.
And if you want to contact the headquarters, a good number to contact is we've set up a hotline for this, so 202-761-8700. That's the hotline to call, and your voice will be heard. So we've had this hotline set up for several months now, and we've responded to many of those calls. So that's the number I would encourage you to call out and get your voices heard.
Has there been a lot of phone calls the last couple of days?
I haven't had a report on it. I can contact my folks at the headquarters and see how much activity there's been on there. But maybe it's just not known. It wasn't known that was the number to call. So I encourage you that I put it out there for you as a way to get your voice heard.
Is there anything else people could do out there? Do you have any recommendations that people could do to help get this extension?
Contact your local congressman. You know, it's working through government. There's a lot of, it's a complex situation, and working through your personal governors and voicing your opinion and putting pressure on the system. We've tried to do that from here and haven't been as successful as we'd like, but you know, everyone's got to come together and put pressure on the system. But as of right now, it stands as the 22nd, and that's what we have to work with. And planning against that, we gotta prepare to get those items, the personal items, out as fast as possible. And it's a rush. I know it's a rush, and the folks here have been doing a great job in cleaning up. You know, I think there's only 100 to 200 people here, but cleaning up with 10,000, 14,000 folks on the ground have, you know, left on their shoulders, and they're bearing the brunt of it, and it's hard. Folks out here are tired, stressed by many different factors, many elements that are going on out here, and it's just important to keep one foot and putting one foot in front of the other, working to that end goal. And right now, that end goal is the 22nd, to have as much cleaned up as possible by that date. And then after that date, the Army Corps will come in with a little bit larger equipment and respectfully finish out the job.
Is it okay if we put the phone number in your comments?
Yeah. It's already.
Oh, you did?
People
Okay.
have been
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But yeah, you just say it one more time, just for clarification.
So for clarification, the number, the hotline that we have in the Army Corps at the headquarters is 202-761-8700. 202-761-8700.
And you're asking people to call there for...
But yeah, if you want to voice your opinion about the end date, that's the number to call. That's the headquarters number to call and voice your opinion. And it's a message line, so you'll leave a message, but you know, we have folks that are on standby to listen to those, collect them, and send them forward to the leadership.
Who reviews that?
So it's part of our public affairs office reviews those calls.
Will that be made public, the number of people who called in?
I'm not sure, but with FOIA, I'm sure it'll be made public. That's the freedom of information, so I'm sure it will be made public.
And
like
there's
a certain
no
number of calls, but then all of a sudden you guys will consider it once it tops out at like 100,000 or something, or it's just.
I'm saying that's a way to put pressure on the system. I'm not saying it's going to be successful wholeheartedly, but I'm saying that is one means that we have here that we can put pressure on, you know, the leadership.
The amount of time it'll take to review in 2 days, I mean, it seems kind of feasible.
And
I have a question. You see that everybody's making an enormous effort to clean up. And it seems like there's an inflexibility for delaying the date or extending the date to come in. When you see the effort that everybody's making, when you see the sincerity, why isn't that being honored and respected? We're trying to respect you. And why is there so much inflexibility?
that I'm I don't have a good answer for you. I don't know, and that is the mark that was put on the wall. We thought we had flexibility the first day that we had a meeting, and then we found out from higher leadership that flexibility wasn't there, and so.
Can you define higher leadership?
Oh, it went up to the commanding generals of the Corps of Engineers.
And did it go up to the president?
That I don't know. But I do know that that date was set first by collaboration with Department of the Army. So once that date was set, and then the state planned against that date, that's where we're at. I don't know the reason for that particular date. Part of the reason is to allow the engineer equipment to get in so that it is back to what it was before the flood season starts on 1 March. And so we believe it'll take about 10 to 14 days to do that. And so it allows us that space to get that done with no one occupying the area.
And what's the strategy for people who choose to remain?
So as I said before, when we're walking up, we hope that folks can leave in a peaceful manner. We plan to have buses up here at 12 o'clock to transport folks to a relocation center if they don't have the means.
Where is the relocation center?
That logistically is what they're working at now. That's what Levi Bachmeyer is on the phone discussing with the folks in command of this. I'm the Corps of Engineers. I'm not the person in the lead of it. This is a state-led operation, so I know what I know, and I'm being upfront with you, but I just don't know the intricate details at this time because that's what they're discussing on this call this morning.
Many of the people who are staying feel that this is home, and they have created structures in which they could live for an indefinite period of time, and they consider this their home. What is the law on people being forcibly removed out of their home without a warrant? Will there be warrants issued?
I don't know. The Corps can issue citations, and I've said it many times. The Corps can issue citations. Found out last night that all those are misdemeanor citations, but the Corps can do that. They are fines up to $5,000, and then there's up to 6 months of prison time that can come with those citations. But that's what the Corps can do. And so I don't have an answer for what exactly will happen here on the 22nd. And, we just have to continue to put our energy towards making it as peaceful and as possible by allowing folks that voluntarily want to leave, and those who want to stay, then they risk being arrested on that day.
Do you have any response to that? Fully out.
Just the feeling of sadness. We know what that's going to look like. I don't want to see no one else hurt. I don't want to see no one else have to go to jail. I feel, already I live with the fact that I'm a Lakota woman standing on my treaty land, and that's not, the government has never acknowledged that. So that's hard for me. I walk with that every day.
A lot of people don't understand when you say treaty land. My understanding is that this is a Standing Rock Reservation, Lakota land that was illegally sold by the government to farmers and gold miners back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, and it was never relinquished by the Lakota people. Would that be accurate?
I'm like on maybe like 2 hours of sleep in the last 3 or 4 days, and I don't want to.
So what do you suggest to people who are in their
let me just finish real quick, because I don't want to. when I talk about the treaty, I don't want to misrepresent the treaty for legal reasons. So I'm just tired, guys, and I just don't want to mess it up. But underneath it all, this is our land. And
as simple as that.
It's that simple. This is our land, and we're supposed to be sovereign people. We're supposed to have specific rights to do things, and to, you know, and there's just so many things upon things, violations upon violations for hundreds of years that we all live with, and so it's a hard situation. And at the end of the day, you know, all of this has been about staying here on this land, but it's not about that. It's about stopping that pipeline over there, and this just being treaty land, and it's also in the face of DAPL. It's a way to shine the light on DAPL and to get them to stop that pipeline, to continue to bring attention to this pipeline. And maybe the world feels like it's a lost cause right now, that there's no point in even trying anymore, that there's already so much progress, but I choose to hope. I choose to believe in miracles through prayer. So I believe still, I have hope that we can stop this pipeline. And I believe that if you're thinking strategically and tactically, we're right here in front of them. And this is the ground we would need to hold that would make sense for that purpose. But it's like, you know, the government has no history of acknowledging our rights, our treaty rights.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said that if you catch a guy robbing a bank in the middle of the bank and he starts walking out with the money, you don't let him keep it just because he's gotten that far.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I think you're right.
So those are the things that we all live with here, and that's hard for us mentally, because it makes sense to every common person, anyone that has any common sense, and you think about it and you're like, that doesn't even make sense. Why? Or how is that possible? So we live a lot with, especially during this movement, we live with so many things that are like, the outside world are like, how is that possible? That's illegal. That can't happen. But it's happening.
What do you say to people who are choosing to stay?
So we need to remember, this is about the Dakota Access Pipeline and what it's going to do to our river. I don't want this to become a fight for this specific land. I think it's strategically smart to stay on this land, and I would like to see more solid evidence of a flood and some actual science. And I feel like that process hasn't been provided or honored either. We haven't been given that due process to even have those conversations. You know, there was just a deadline set, and then it's just go. And so, you know, but I believe that things can change. I believe that if we all, you know, if we open our minds and open our hearts and just be pure in our prayer and walk our talk. You know, we're walking our talk in this camp. We're cleaning up. We're helping. We're cooperating. We've shown that, and there's been so much progress. That first day, we did 2 days worth of work in 1 day, and it's been amazing. It's been incredible, and I think we're showing, and you know, the people on the ground from the Army Corps, and you know, everybody that's standing on this ground, contributing to this effort. We're showing the world that it's not impossible. This is very possible. And, you know, I do have bigger dreams. Like, you know, I wish that tomorrow I'd wake up and the government would say, hey, guess what? You guys have a treaty. You guys, you know, you have all these rights, but there's a process that, you know, you have to, that treaty fight is a process. And that's not possible in the next 2 days either. So I continue to pray about it though. I continue to hope for it. And I continue to do my own work, and you know, towards that, that's my long-term life goal. That's my whole life goal, is I want to be honored. I want my people to be honored in that way. But dealing with the here and now, we have to deal with the facts. We have to deal with that eviction date, and that it's unreasonable. And there's so much evidence building here that it's possible to do this in cooperation, in peace, and and we're building a relationship. We're building relationships here, and there, in doing something positive comes healing, and we need healing here. So that's, you know, that's something that we that should show valid reason that we can reasonably ask for an extension. You know, it's not crazy to ask for that. And right now, we're dealing with the weather, totally out of control of all of our hands. We don't get to say when it rains or whatever, but right now the camp, you're standing ankle deep or deeper at some points in mud, and it's really soft mud. My car is stuck in the middle of camp, like up to the, you know, to the bumper. So, you know, it's legitimate. No one can work in there today. So, but the ask is still being that we still continue to remove our stuff. You know, even after we've been acknowledged that nobody can work today. Nobody can be moving around in there. Regular vehicles are having a hard time. And so, but it's still being said, voiced that, hey, you still gotta move your stuff. Even though we just said nobody can work in there. Still get your stuff out, because we're still coming on the 22nd.
You had a really good point about more scientific information. I'd like to ask you a question, because I understand that the NOAA, which is the National Oceanic Association, has downgraded the threat of a flood here by half. How do you respond to that?
So I'm not read in on what you're discussing, but what I do know is that the probability may have gone down. The probability that the project Lake Oahe rises, it's fairly low. So some of the probabilities may have gone down, but the severity of what could happen here is still could be catastrophic. Ice dams, they're unpredictable. So you can't say, oh, because the probability is low, it's not going to happen. Those ice jams can happen, and there's no predicting it, and that water could rise up faster than most people could imagine. So, well, from what I've heard, it's 2 or 3 feet per hour.
Couldn't you say the same thing about the pipeline, that it could be catastrophic, and that there has not been an environmental impact study done either on this waterway or 209 other waterways that are in the path of the pipeline? And why has that not been done?
So there was an environmental study on where that pipeline is done by our federal mandate of the Corps. So there was an environmental study done.
When and where is it where people can see it?
It is all publicly available with the court injunction that the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe and the Cheyenne Sioux Tribe have done. All those documents are publicly available.
When did they complete the study?
The study, I believe, was completed by July. All those documents were submitted, and then with the court injunction, they were submitted to the court. So all those documents are publicly available.
According to Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the Army Corps, or the DAPL, did not do an environmental impact study on 209 waterways. They were supposed to, and they got away with it through segmentation. So far as I know, and according to him, and he made this statement in mid-November, that there was no environmental impact study done on those 209 waterways for the Missouri River.
So I don't know. I don't have that knowledge, so I can't speak to that.
So, but I thought that the Army Corps of Engineers was requiring that they do an environmental impact study. That was in November, wasn't it?
So you're talking about, I believe in December, the pipeline was stopped because the paperwork wasn't forwarded to Congress, as would happen for a pipeline of this size. And then I believe in 15 January, I think, was the notification of the EIS.
They were going to
notification to do the EIS was in 15 January. And then on 24 January, there was an executive order to expedite doing the through legal means and expedite getting the paperwork that the Corps submitted to Congress and through. And if all the paperwork for the environmental impacts and if all that stuff was good to go, then the recommendation would be made to Congress, and that's what happened based on the assessments that were done previously. Those documents were submitted to Congress, and notification of the EIS was terminated.
So this wasn't really an environmental protection issue. This was more of a conflict of interest issue. Do you think?
I don't know. I don't. What are you defining as a conflict of interest?
Well, there's certain people, elected officials, who are invested in the pipeline, who have an interest in expediting the process, and I'm wondering if that overrode the concern and overrode the law for an environmental impact study.
So I don't know. So as a military officer, I've got an oath to follow the Constitution of the United States, and part of that oath is whoever's that commander in chief. That's who we follow. That's what we do as officers and as a military organization, which the Army Corps is. We do things by the letter of the law, and that's how it is. It's not a matter of personal opinion, so I don't know what drove the decisions to expedite it, but as I said, our oath to follow the Constitution means that when we're asked to do something like that, then we follow through with those orders.
Do you have any comments on the music? I just, I'm just I'm pulling back a little bit today and verbalizing a lot because I was triggered last night and my heart hurts. And so I'm just being a little bit more quiet today because I'm praying harder today. So I'm still here, I'm still present, I'm still holding the line for our people in our camp, but I'm just doing it in a more gentle way. You know, the spirits always say, they always tell us in ceremony to walk in a gentle way. And today I'm really doing that. I'm just walking in a gentle way because I'm hurting. And everyone in that camp is hurting. But even at the level we're hurting, we're still having that finger poke saying, get your stuff out, get your stuff out. So it's just a hard process.
As a human being, I was just wondering if you had any feelings about what's going on, if you're able to express anything like that.
I have feelings, but you know, and whether or not those feelings align with what's going on and being a part of the Corps, I'm not going to express exactly how I feel in this forum, but you know, I have feelings about what's going on, and you know, I definitely feel for the people that are here, and my heart's out to them, and you know, it's hard. Many people are torn. Many people on both sides are torn. You know, to include us in the Corps, where we're told to do these things for hundreds of permits that we do a year. We're told to go out and do these environmental impacts, the historical preservation acts, and we're complying with those, and it's because of the federal mandate. It's not because of how we feel about it. And we don't determine where these pipelines go. These pipeline companies submit that paperwork up, and there's assessments done and rerouting done, and at the end of the day, by that federal mandate, we go in and we do our assessments that we're supposed to do, despite how we actually feel about it. I know there's many in the Corps that they vocalize, you know, their opinion about DAPL, but I'm not going to do that at this time. But I'll just tell you that there's a lot of folks torn on all sides, and at the end of the day, it's difficult, it's complex, and we're all having to deal with something. Not necessarily the stress that the folks here at Oceti Sakowin are dealing with, but you know, everyone has to deal with things in their own way, in their own manner, and we hope that at the end of the day, we can not have anyone in this floodplain, not do harm to anyone, and we can you know, clean this up in an honorable manner. And if we can do that, then think that for right now defines success.
Can we get a commitment from the Army Corps of Engineers that they will make every effort possible to protect the people and prevent violence used by the Morton County Sheriff's Department? Will you commit to protecting us and seeing that doesn't get out of hand as it has in the past?
So that's not in the Corps' lane. That would be a state operation, and I don't have the authority, nor does the Corps, to dictate what a state does. That's separation between the federal and the state government, and so I really, as part of the Corps, we just can't. We don't have an influence on it.
Can you comment on the number of enforcements that are coming into the casino and showing up with weapon cases and things like that? And it seems like they're getting prepared for something.
Is that what's happening today?
Well, I saw some photographs yesterday.
So I believe there are some more BIA folks coming in, Department of the Interior folks coming in to help the BIA on the southern portion of the Cannonball River. I believe that's what's going on.
Is there any reason to be so heavily armed when everybody in the camp is unarmed?
I don't know. That again, those are decisions that I'm not making. I don't make those decisions, and the Corps doesn't dictate anything to the local law enforcement. They're doing what they believe is going to protect their folks. So I don't know why the arms are there. I don't know what their exact purpose is, and that's determined by their leadership.
Any last comments?
Just wanted to do the ask again from all of you out there that you advocate for us. Call the Army Corps and ask. Call the Army Corps of Engineers and ask for that deadline to be pushed out. Ask for an extension for us. We're doing the footwork here. We're doing it. We're showing the world what we're doing, and we're proving that this cooperation is possible, that progress is achievable. And then now with the weather affecting the work, the ability to even go in and do any work. For the Army Corps saying that they've verified today, based on the mud conditions, that they can't bring anything in to do any work today, and are in agreement that we can't work either. Nobody can work in there today. And so, I mean, there's all these things are piling up. They're legitimate things. They're, it's all reason for the Army Corps of Engineers to say, okay, that's reasonable. We should give them some more time to do this in a good way, because we want to be honored. We want our people to have dignity. We want no injuries. We want no arrests. We want to continue working in cooperation to achieve our goal and to return this land, restore this land to the purity that it was before the camp existed here. And that's a big job. So we're just asking, I'm asking you to call the Army Corps of Engineers and to make that request. Everybody, every single one of you has a voice. And at this scary time in this country, with the new administration, it's really important that we remember that the power is in the people. The power is in every single one of us. Because it's scary that the new administration is doing scary stuff. Don't forget that we have power. Use your voices. And we can do this. We can make the change. We can make any change that we want if we all stand in solidarity, if we all stand united with a pure heart and good intentions. I believe that's possible.
You're saying we contact our local congresspeople. What can we say to them?
I mean, you got to put it in your own words. It's got to be sincere, and you ask them, you ask them what you want. You ask them for that extension. You ask them to put pressure on the system. I don't know what words are gonna trigger those folks to engage with their folks, but it's a suggestion, and know, my hope is that, again, this can be cleaned in a peaceful manner. And right now, that 22nd date is it, and we got to work with that date as it, and try to respect that date, and expect that you know, we're going to take it day by day and make progress one step at a time.
When will you let us know where the people who are forcibly removed from their homes here, where they'll be housed, how they'll be taken care of? This is a place that their only place they have, but some people don't have another place to go back to.
Right, that's a discussion that, like I said, that the state is trying to figure out. They're working through the logistics on it, so it's a responsibility of the state to address it. And so
this is 2 days away, so
right,
we should have
right.
the information like right now.
Okay.
So people have some idea of what they're going to do. Otherwise, they're going to be on the street in the snow and the rain, below zero temperatures. How is that humanitarian?
So nothing that, from what I've heard so far from the state, is going to be inhumane. So again, the priority between the Corps, between the state, it's life, health, and safety. So to think that something inhumane would be done to those that are on the camp, I don't think that supports that goal. So we're working those kinks out. I mean, they're like I said, it's very complex. There's a lot going on with the situation, and you know, I just encourage people to continue to work towards being out on the 22nd. And if those that don't have the means and believe that you know, that this was their only home and they don't have a place to go, that can be figured out in that relocation center. But it's not, I mean, getting arrested for something like that and getting thrown in jail is not the way to address it. The way to address it is to come up here and to say, you know, I'm ready to go, and you know, those situations can be figured out. Again, it's taking it day by day. And
well, we only have 2 days.
Right, we only have 2.
Holiel, will she be your contact, and will you let her know so she can inform other people and so they have some idea?
Absolutely. We've been in contact, and
we're on a system of a day-to-day basis here.
Yeah.
So we're not there hasn't been a daily, or I mean it's a daily basis. We meet in the morning, we discuss, and then, you know, we work with everyone in the camp, and our goal is for everyone in the camp to have a voice. Things happened a little bit different this morning because we wanted to get that assessment done. So, like, all of this is kind of cutting into our camp time, where we need to talk with our camp people and let their voices be heard, and then have the actual meeting that happens every morning. So because of the conditions, it's okay that we're running behind schedule because we can't really do anything anyway. So, but that's our process. Every day the decisions are made in the morning. The people have a voice, and we come together and we try to find middle ground every day. And then we just go forward and we finish that day, and then we start over the next day. So I believe, though, what I know about faith is that faith means not knowing what's going to happen. Faith means not having a guarantee that tomorrow I'm going to do this today because I'm promised tomorrow this is going to happen. Faith means that you're going to do it anyway because you believe it will happen. And so I'm just having faith, and I want all of you to have faith too. So, and that's it. So I just want to invite our camp members up now to our family, our camp family together, so that they can talk and have a voice in what happens today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Hey, how's it going?
You have a contact with the police up there for the cost restriction or anything like that?
Are you asking about the BIA checkpoint?
No, the state police that's up there, or who's up there? Sheriffs?
Yeah,
State
sheriffs,
police.
BIA, state police.
Yeah, so what I recommend is that, I mean, Johnny would be a great connect, is to give them cultural, and directly to the governor. You know, there's cultural insensitivity being done here, and you have them directly representing the governor in the state of North Dakota. And the way they handle and talk to people is completely disrespectful, but it really shows your department, your agency, your government, and how they're talking to people coming through, regardless of who they are. And I just had a conversation with one up there. The way his mannerism is disrespectful, but it's representing you guys. It's representing the governor. And the governor needs to have a direct talk with these guys and have a cultural sensitivity training. Probably Johnny would be a good one to say, this is not how you talk, especially on sacred land that is still our visitors in, the land that's still not in jurisdiction. There's no proof of it. That is the proof in the way they're talking to people. And I know that's not the teachings of North Dakota, and if it is the teachings of North Dakota, you guys need to get on your officials immediately.
Is my understanding correct that those interacting with people trying to come through the checkpoint are BIA?
No, they're are they state?
There's
they're
some state patrols there.
They're located there, but I was informed that they're only in a support position and aren't interacting with
supportly
people.
rude. Yeah, and there's no
there was
need.
a higher
There's no
patrolman
need.
that
Yeah,
actually told me to get the hell out of here.
Yeah, we documented them again, and we're completely. I mean, I don't think they realize in North Dakota realize the world is watching, and we are the media, and we're documenting them every single day. We also documented an officer on the top where the tree is peeing on the tree. That's a burial site. It's a grave site.
I'm happy to bring that information
This
back.
is a grave site. Over here where they're sitting is a grave site. Remind them, these are the teachings of North Dakota that we're seeing in disrespect. The governor's house is on a grave site. These are the teachings that we're seeing that being disrespected is the spiritual law of human to human contact. We're seeing that. We're supposed to be respecting the burial sites, the grave sites, the veteran sites. We respect it when we go by. So we need you guys to reinforce that with your officers, to not be disrespectful. Bring them off the hill. They don't need to be sitting on sacred sites, but this is not the teaching of Western culture. And if it is, we're seeing it happen for Bismarck, and it's representing the city of Bismarck right now. And the people need to know that what they're seeing here is real, and it's videoed, and it's live. So just, you guys got to take time to educate your officers and say, you know what, this is not okay. Because what would happen to us? What would happen to me if I went and peed on a gravesite over there in the gravesite over there in Bismarck? What would happen?
I'll be sure to relay your concerns. Gladly. Thank you for bringing them to our attention.
Thank you. Now, you know, what we're witnessing here is current trauma, not historical trauma anymore. This is current trauma. So he has to publicly address that. He has to make a statement. He has to do a press release. We just don't want the word of, we don't believe the word is no longer the word anymore. You just got to understand that. The word is like smoke. You have to write it in paper. You have to do a press release publicly announcing that we apologize for being on the sacred sites and burial sites, the indigenous people here. And we're going to pull our officers off. Because for us, it doesn't look right, and neither does it for the world. Now that you're seeing the world pick up on sacred sites, this is what we are seeing right now. So you guys got, if it's not today, it's got to be like in the next hour. And immediately send out a press release that we can watch. And where could we find the press release for this?
All press releases that are put out from the governor's office are located right on the homepage of his website.
Okay, so we should see something today.
I'm not making any commitment to that. I'd be happy to bring back your concerns.
Would it be an acknowledgement on there that this is what we're bringing to the table? Because we're going to bring it up every time.
Not being the communications director, I can't commit any official communication from the governor's office. We're here for two reasons: is to help facilitate the relocation of individuals who'd like to leave for health and safety reasons, as well as cleaning up the camp to prevent any sort of environmental destruction.
And just for the record, I'm not speaking on behalf of the tribe or anyone. I'm speaking on behalf of journalists, and we're documenting this. We're witnessing this happen. You know, we're seeing these rights being violated: spiritual rights, civil rights, human rights. So I appreciate that you listening. And you have a card that I can.
I gave them all out.
Well, how
yesterday.
about this? I'll give you my card. You send me a text, Facebook me. Warren County, they know how to get a hold of me on Facebook. They watch all my feeds. And, you know, we send blessings out to let the governor know we pray for him every day to make the right human decision. know, a compassion in his heart to see that the people are hurt when they see the ancestors here desecrated. So I want to thank you. The last thing I want to mention is that no one was held accountable for shooting the drones, which was the Warren County Police Department and DAPL Security, which is also on live video. That also needs to be addressed, and that's in violation. That's a federal law. That's a felony to shoot an aircraft out of the air. So when they shot it out of the air right over there, that's right when the barricade came up. And we can also produce evidence to show that these felonies were committed by Morton County and DAPL Security.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Thank you. I'll follow up with you. I'll expect your text. Oh, guys. Holy. You got the media going over here. I'm usually behind the camera.
Holding a meeting to kind of talk to people who are going to be here on the 22nd. Now, if anyone would like to join, it was free.
You're holding it?
No, it's not media. It's down here.
Oh, okay.
And Johnny's tent.
Okay.
Red Hot called it.
Oh, it's at the media meeting?
Yeah, so I'm heading down there now.
Thank you. And maybe you can text me that.
Yeah, no, I will. Do you
Facebook me?
Yeah,
or
my page is Inspire Bank Exits.
I think so. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, that's the dancing guy.
Yeah, that's me. But that's good. I mean, there's 1,000 people watching that conversation. So.
Right on. Cool. That's good.
You have a
I don't, but it's Facebook Inspire Bank Exits.
Yeah, you'll see him.
It's an important conversation because this is current trauma. That's what we're seeing. Current trauma right here. And to see urination was just over the top. You know, that was the worst one. I think that it just you know, I'm a historical trauma trainer, cultural monitor, and a professor, and to see that happening with officers, I've seen that there's a lack of protocol, there's a lack of training with them. Definitely cultural training is not in there. They're on Indian land, they're on the San Juan Sioux Tribes land, and there's no cultural training. That's what I've seen here. And I've asked the officers many times to please let somebody go over there and train them. You know, we've got a lot of people here that have that training, that sensitivity, cultural sensitivity training. So yeah, and I've been doing that since the very top. You know, trying to educate them on the very top, the sacred sites. So yeah, appreciate you here sharing the message, and you know, now we got a lot of educating to do with what we're saying, because I think if there was education in process, they wouldn't be doing this. They would know, wow, okay, this is sacred sites. What are the teachings of not just who I work for, but what are my own teachings? Do I have those teachings of respect? No, I'm not going to go up on the hill in those bear sites. Do I have those teachings? That's what that I want them to know is you have teachings. You can say, no, that's disrespectful, and I will not violate that spiritual law. And that's what we need to remind them. It's not okay. That's why you're getting sick. That's why the anger comes out. It's because you're in violation of spiritual law. And it is, as human beings, that total respect we have, no matter where we go in the world, that's the respect we would have. If we were sitting in Bethlehem and we went over the great sites over there, the origin, different areas of religion around the world, Africa, anywhere, we'd have that respect as indigenous people, of the leaders, the past leaders, and that's what needs to be done here. I see them pouring gas out and having every disregard for this land. And you know, I would say, and they probably should have one of their whatever faith they believe in, whether it be a preacher or they're Mormons or Catholic or Protestant, is to have them come up and with our spiritual leaders and bless that land. And we need to teach them how to do it correctly, because we know everything about white people. We know about how to pray in the church. We know how to do the protocols. If we're Catholic, we know those protocols. If we're Baptist, if we're Mormon, we know we don't drink coffee and all those things. We know because that was encroached on us. It seems like our visitors here don't know that, and they're disregarding the basic elements of respect. And that's what really hurts me. And I can see, like yesterday, when the teepee went up and the prayer started, for us it's a demonstration of prayer. For them, it was like, oh, incite a riot. Let's get all worked up and get down everyone. And I seen the cars coming down, flying down, and the LRAD come through.
So how many days have you used?
And then it was taken down. And they're all standing there like, what's going on? And that's the same thing that happened when they put the barricade up. They all started moving forward, and everyone turned their back and walked away. We're not going to play your game no more. no, we're not going to let you incite a riot no more. When we're in prayer, they incite a riot. And we've seen that now the last 2 times. So we're not going to go forward. We also have to remind our other water protectors that are here in solidarity to be in solidarity. What does that mean? Is to be in solidarity. That means be respectful on the land you're on, and people are learning. And you're seeing it now on the front line. They're not being disrespectful. They're making sure people that are for their own intentions, pulling them back. I think that's amazing too. They're learning and they're healing. And that's what these guys need to do, is they need to heal. But the militarization that's happening, the violations from the First Amendment as a journalist, to the civil rights violation, human rights violation, and then that bridge is where the Geneva Convention was in violation, shooting medics in the back. Those are the things that we're witnessing. Every time we go through this footage and edit it, we're like, wow, a medic just got shot in the ass. There's a picture of him getting shot in certain places. There's a picture of the kneecaps being shot, the hands being shot, being hit in the head, you know, being targeted at the groin. And the women were being targeted in the groin because they look like men, you know, all suited up. So it's really hard to watch this footage and document it and then share it. And I can see that a lot of our people outside of this tribe throughout any country are hurt as well. When they say, you know, they cry. Our elders cried when they see this desecration of sacred sites. And so they want to feel like they can do something. And so that's why we're here, is we're to help educate and empower all 4 directions of people to say, you know what, this isn't okay, and here's why. That's why. Here's why. This is not okay. Spiritual law is being broken here. There's a respectful way to do it. No.
Thank you for explaining that.
Oh, it's down here. It's down here. Right down here. Right now.
Oh, no. Are you guys taking that in consideration? Have you guys been chatting with other people? I don't know if you just chatted over there about that.
Yeah, we just had an opportunity to learn more about what that process needs to be followed to take that down in a respectful way, and I know that those are questions that are being asked right now down in the camp. So we'll report back once we hear something about it.
Right. So everything that gets answered gets funneled through you, then goes back to the governor's office. So I was only here for 10 minutes, but I only heard pretty much you parroting back, and then you're going to get back to.
We're happy to take any questions or concerns that people have and funnel that through the proper channels. And again, we're just here to help serve as a resource as the camp continues to be cleaned up and people prepare to leave prior to the 22nd.
Okay.
So,
does this
sorry,
morning's
man.
assessment change the governor's office, their calculation about the speed at which people are expected to leave? I mean, Major Pope this morning said that it's impossible to work out there.
So as I just said, that 22nd date, it remains a hard date, and part of the reason is that flood season's still coming. There may not be a high probability at this particular moment for that flood to happen, but the severity of the risk is still there, and the unpredictability of an ice jam on the Cannonball River and where this confluence with the Missouri, the unpredictability of it means that we don't really know when or if it may happen, but we don't want to be doing a rescue mission out here. We'd much rather be doing a cleanup effort, right? And so with a 14-day planning period for just our guys to come in here and work without anyone on the camp, we got to consider that. So that's why that 14th date is much more firm than
So in some ways, the assessment that you did this morning is kind of independent of what the camp is doing. It's kind of this morning's assessment was Army Corps of Engineers determining if you can come in and do the work that's needed to be done. You're saying the camp needs to be out because the Army Corps of Engineers needs 14 days post clearing of the camp to clean everything. And you know, whether or not it's muddy today doesn't really like matter into the calculus of how the camp needs to move or not. 22nd is a day because that gives you the 14 days that you need on the back end. Right.
Thank you.
Can I have one more question? On the bridge, you guys were talking about on the 22nd that if everyone isn't gone, that they will be removed. Are you guys still planning on? And I believe it was you said that you'll bring in outside sources, like not just the Army Corps will be coming in to remove people. Will we have sheriffs? Will we have Morton County? Will we have? I feel like I saw a bunch of other people from different parts, other states coming in. What's going to happen on the 22nd?
We don't have information on that yet. Like I said before, our focus is day by day. With each morning meeting, we're discussing what work can be done that day.
So
our focus is today, February 20th.
But on the bridge, it's you said on the bridge, the 22nd. If people aren't gone, that first meeting we had, that something was going to happen. So that's changed then.
I have no new information to provide on that.
But on the bridge, you said that people would be removed. So that's my question, I guess. Has that changed?
You're talking about last Thursday?
I'm talking about the very first meeting we had.
Yep. The potential for people to be removed after the 22nd. Yes.
So I have a question. Yesterday, there were some photographs of.
You guys, we've taken a lot of questions.
Excuse me,
we really,
I have one question. But
I understand, but
that's something that's
it's being addressed. But we've
you
taken
know
a
what?
lot
It's
of
true.
questions.
They have taken a lot of questions.
Yeah, we appreciate it. I'm sorry we really appreciate you guys' time. We really do.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
Thank you guys.
Sorry, I didn't.
Right. So they're just going to take everybody in and then let it go.
Hey, somebody's been putting out some good information out there. Education.
Yeah, I'm right here.
Oh, interview with the Army Corps of Engineers?
I just asked some questions. They have to go.
Okay, all right, good.
They've been answering questions all morning. But, yes.
All right, let's go to our.
Do we want to get
Yeah, where is it?
Oh,
At the
sorry,
new
it's just
location or the old
about-
location?
They were like, you can go with back, and I'm sorry. It
Is
ran
that the
out,
old
but I
location?
couldn't correct myself.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that.
So everyone, there's a couple things you can do. You can call that number that's in the feed. So call the Army Corps comment line and ask them to please reconsider changing that date past the 22nd. And everyone, you can contact your local congressman to put pressure on that as well. So everyone out there, please, we need your help. If you're new to this page at the bottom, I do believe in the comments you can subscribe to my live feeds. I'll be here through to the 23rd, so I'd love to have you guys tune in again. Please share this to everyone. We need everyone's help right now. We don't want violence, but it appears to be like if people are not out by the 22nd, and it's really hard for people to get their stuff out right now because it's extremely muddy. We need your help. So everyone out there, you got a part to play. Empower yourself to please share this everywhere and notify people to contact that comment line at the Army Corps of Engineers, and also to contact your local congressman. Yeah, so thanks for tuning in. I'll be here, so hope to see you guys again. If you're new to this page too, I've been filming a lot of people leaving the banks, moving to credit unions. And I'm actually leaving here in about a week and going back east again, and I'm filming a group in Rhode Island, actually filming a church divest. So follow me as I'm gonna go around the country, get people out of these banks that are funding this corrupt stuff. So encourage you also, if you're still in a bank, get out. And I'd love to film your process, so contact me if you're interested as well. So you guys have a great day, and please, once again, share this, contact Army Corps of Engineers, comment line, and contact your local congressman. Peace. I love you all. Have a great day.